It's been 30 days since I've been back in corporate. Do I regret leaving full-time entrepreneurship to go to corporate? No, I do not. And this video is going to explain why, because I set the preface on how this new career going back into corporate was going to be. The vibe of this video is confidence. The confidence that Rosa Parks gave when she said no or nah, she's not getting up to go to the back of the bus. And that's what I want you to have during this whole video, is confidence, or at least gain from the advice that I'm going to give you. Hi, my name is Rokia, also known as MsQueenRo. If you're interested in anything life, career, and travel, then you stopped at the right place. I am a lifestyle adventurer creator. Today, we're going to talk about career because, as I mentioned in the beginning, I have been at my job, my new corporate job, for 30 days. Technically, we're going on 60, but we'll blame the cold weather for actually getting this video out late. We can blame the cold weather on everything. I have 3 points that I'm going to touch on today that has given me the confidence to ensure that not just the first 30 days, but my entire career, because let's face it, the job market out there, it is not the best. I didn't even know I was going to get this job. And I have learned some things working in corporate for almost 17 years, leaving corporate to go to full-time entrepreneurship, learned some extra things. Now going back into corporate, it was going to be different. Times have changed. I have changed. And I was going to go into this company with the confidence and just knowing that it's going to be different, and everyone around me, including my boss, was going to know that it's different. When I say confidence, I don't mean arrogance, okay? There's a difference. However, being black and a woman, I have learned that if you're not speaking up right from the beginning, it is very hard for you to catch up. So let's jump right into it. We're talking about number one. I knew when I was going to go back into corporate, I was going to talk about my career development. As a matter of fact, during the interview, I prefaced it. I told my boss, or at the time it was boss to be, because I didn't know I was going to get the job or not. He asked me, what is one thing important to me going back into corporate or going to any company? I said my career development. So he said, explain. I said, I know when I'm in any job, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be corporate, whatever I'm working, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go through different challenges that I'm going to accomplish, and I'm going to set goals to ensure that my career development is the first thing that I'm going to make sure that just comes first. And I'm going to let the people around me know it, especially my boss. So if you become my boss, and I hope you do, this is some things that I said when I was in the interview. Hey, the confidence started there, right? I want to make sure that we have an understanding that my career development is very important to me, and I want you to know that. So one of the first conversations that we're going to have is where I want to go and what I want to do. And he was so pushed back. I think he actually, if I remember correctly, it was actually him and his boss was doing the interview for me, and they both took a second, and we were on virtual Zoom, and then he responded, well then, I can't speak for every boss out there. I can only speak for me, and you can rest assured that if you make it to this company and make it to my team, your career development will be very important to me. You can ask any of my other team members, you can ask any of my employees that career development is highly important to me. My boss, which she was right there as well, can attest to this, to where I ensure that my employees, even if they move off my team, they accomplish their goals. And I was like, well, sir, we're going to make a great team. So that was the backstory, right? Now going into, I've got the job, I've made it, I'm now in my first 30 days, and he might have thought I was kidding. I was not. He actually works out of another state, so we are virtual. I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina. He works out of another state, and he came in a couple of weeks after the holidays, within the 30 days. And the first thing I asked him was, "Hey, we have our one-on-one. Can we meet face to face?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course. I'm in town. Of course we're gonna meet face to face." I was like, "Cool." And the first thing that I brought up, remember, sir, when I brought up my career development? I was serious about that. So let's talk. He started laughing. I said, "Look, my career development is very important to me, as I mentioned in the interview, and I'm not sure where I want to go. I have narrowed it down to two, not so much titles, but two areas that I want to go in. I'm not sure which one yet. Obviously, I'm new to the team. I'm new to this company, and I obviously want to learn my job first. I'm not given a time limit on when I want to go, but I do want to give you, or just preface the fact that I'm interested in these two areas, and eventually I would like to end up in one of these two." And he said, "All right, well, of course you have to succeed and do really well at your job currently." I said, "Number one, that is number one. I want to do right by you, and I want to do right by this team. So with that being said, I'm going to just be doing research in the time that I'm here. Again, no time limit on when I want to leave you. I'm not trying to leave you. From what I've noticed, I really like you as a boss. So I'm going to be with you as long as I can. However, I do have goals that I want to accomplish." And he said, "Totally fine. I support that. That's all I needed to hear, sir. Let's go." So my advice to you, I need you to speak up about your career development in your first 30 days. You may not know what you want to do. Maybe you do know what you want to do. And that is actually a very good trait to have. If you know you want to get into leadership, if you know you want to get into management, then you let your boss know that this is where I want to go. Now, I hesitate when I say that because everybody doesn't have a boss like me, and I understand that. If you get the vibe, so let's just start with the positive first. If you get the vibe that your boss is very open to feedback, very open to your career development and the career development of others, then I would go ahead, have that confidence, and have the conversation with them. The way you find out if that's their vibe is ask around. If you're not the only one under him or her, then ask them, or ask the team members, how is the boss? How do they come, when it comes to career development, how do they come across? Now, I had that advantage to where I'm not the only person working under him. So I asked my team members, my peers, when it comes to career development, how is my boss? And 100% of them said he is the best. His actions follows his talk, and he will wholeheartedly support you whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go. I was like, great, that's all I need to hear. We're going to move on. Now, if you don't get that vibe from your new boss, then that should not stop you. You have pen and paper, you have your phone, you have a tablet, something that you can write down your goals and ensure that you don't lose sight of where you want to go. Maybe you don't know where to go or the titles, but you have an idea. It is your responsibility to take your career development into your own hands. You can't leave that, even if you have a great boss, that you get in the vibe that you have a great boss within the first 30 days, you can't leave that in their hands. It's not their responsibility, it's your responsibility. And especially as a woman, you definitely had to make that clear. First, make it clear to yourself. That's why I said write it down. Write some goals that you may want to accomplish. And then if you can clarify it, if you can speak it, voice it to someone, especially your new boss, then I would do that next. Number 2, build relationships. Notice I said build relationships. I did not say network. There's a difference. Comment below the difference between networking and building relationships. I made sure to build relationships in my first 30 days. What did I do? I reached out to different folks that I know I'm going to be working with. And then I didn't know that I was going to be working with. But I reached out. I also did something else, and I'm getting into that in a second. What I did, I set one-on-ones on the calendar for people that I know I was going to be partnering with within my role. I sent them one-on-ones. I sent them virtual meetings. We met for 30 minutes, got to know each other. We asked about our past experience, asked about our past careers. How did you get into this company? What are your goals? Yeah, I asked them what are their career goals. I have no shame. This is how I'm going to know where I want to go, and I'm trying to get an idea. Now, don't be so nosy to where I will say the vibe that I received from these folks was very, very welcoming. So they had no problem in me asking what their past experience is and why, just to get to know them. I was genuinely really just want to know them, because if I'm going to be working with these folks, I'm the type of person that I need to kind of vibe with your personality in order to feel like I can be my true self. Now, don't get me wrong. I can adapt anywhere and to anyone. So even if I feel like I'm not getting that vibe, you're still going to get the Rokia that's working at this job. But there's a difference. And I feel like that's when the networking comes in, to where, okay, I'll hold you in my back pocket because I may need you for something in the future, but I don't feel like myself to where I can build a relationship with you. On the other hand, if I get the vibe that you're very open, very transparent, very genuine, then I'm like, okay, I can not only just network with you, I can build a relationship with you as well, because you may need me for something. Please don't make it all about you. Please don't make it seem like this is you're going to need them for something. You have an agenda. I don't have an agenda when I try to build relationships, because it's a back and forth type of relationship. I may need you in the future, but doggone it, you may need me as well. And I am definitely here to help you just as much as I may need your help. Okay? So build relationships. Now, the other thing that I did was I waited in my last company, I don't know, a few years to join an employee resource group. As we call them ERGs. This company, they call them employee resource networks, ERNs. Same thing. The first one I joined was the African American community one. Yes, I did. Because I was a part of that one in my last company, and I felt, well, honestly, I was a part of a few in my last company, because I was actually the diversity and inclusion consultant. So I was technically over all of them. But the ones that I was truly active and involved was a few. Young Professionals Organization and the African American Network. So those two I was most active in. This one, I just chose to get into one for right now because I'm new to the job and I want to make sure that I'm conquering my current role, my paid role, because any of those networks or any of those employee resource groups, those are all volunteer, and you're not supposed to be taking up your whole role or your whole job and your whole day with joining those meetings and things like that. You're not getting paid to do that. Those are extracurricular, so you make sure to not take advantage of the fact that you're going to them. So I just joined one for now. My plan is to be in a leadership position within this group. I was in a leadership position in my last company, in my Young Professionals Organization. I actually worked my way up from leading the group, leading the community, on up to executive sponsorship. So I was the grandma or the great auntie of the group for the whole city of Charlotte for this group and that company. So I want to work my way up with this company as well, with this group. Now, baby steps, right? Right now, I just want to build relationships. I want to just network within the group to kind of get to know people. It also helps you learn the culture of the company as well. So it's sort of like a sorority or fraternity. That's a good analogy for it. You join one of those groups so that you can be able to be in a cultural environment. You know, you're with people that you feel comfortable with. You kind of join like a sisterhood. Now, this is both genders, but it's in that relations of what it is, but in a more business, professional type setting. For instance, I went to the first one. I actually made a short about it. And they held a week of events in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. around financial literacy. Oh my gosh. We invited the president and CEO of the NAACP of the country here, Mr. Derek Johnson. Wow, that's pretty big, right? And that was my first official meeting that I attended. It was nice. We learned a lot of things. My advice to you is to join some type of group, get out of your comfort zone. Yes, learn your job, but go ahead and have that confidence to be able to join a group so that you can go ahead and start putting yourself out there. That goes back to the career development, to where it's not all about your job, honey. It's not about all the work you put into anymore. It is about who you know and a combination of, did you do a great job? So you're going to have to get yourself out of your seat and make it known to where I'm here, I'm in this company, and I'm not just going to be quiet about it. Before I get into the last tip I want to give you, I wanted to just give kudos again to my boss, because in the first 30 days, technically it was in like the week 2.5, that I was allowed to, because he knew my background was in brand strategy. I actually have a brand strategy course that I taught my small business owners as working as an entrepreneur, to where if you don't have a good brand, a personal, intentional brand, then your business may not do the best. So he knew I had that. He was just like, hey, you know, I'm coming into town. Did you want to? No, actually, this is how it happened. A few of my peers approached me when they found out that that was my background, to say, I heard you talk about that you have a course and you talk about how you can better your LinkedIn or improve your LinkedIn. I said, yeah, I do. He was like, well, do you think you can kind of give me some pointers about that? I was like, oh yeah, sure, definitely, when we have time. So that was person number one. A few days later, person number two approaches me and is like, hey, so I just found out that you boss said that you had some prior brand strategy experience. I was like, yeah. How does that work? Like, how can I improve my brand? I was like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, okay, 2 people approached me in the same week. That's a sign. So let me go to the boss and say, hey, when you come in town, we're going to have a business meeting. Do you mind if you can dedicate 30 minutes to me so that I can actually teach you a paraphrased version of my course? Not just you, I'm sorry, the whole group, a paraphrased version of my course. And we can learn more about brand strategy together. He was like, that's awesome. Yes, you're allowed. Go ahead and give me the PowerPoint. I was like, okay, bet, thank you. So how awesome is that, right? I just gave you 2 steps: career development, building relationships. So within 2 weeks of me being at the job, I was already allowed to stand in front of my peers, my boss, and my boss's boss, because she was there too, teaching brand strategy. That's the confidence that I had going 30 days in. That's the talk that I gave to myself. When I did some self-talk before I stepped in that job first day, I was like, I am not going to let 3-4 years go by and I finally speak up to say, hey, I want to be promoted. We're not doing that anymore. This is 2025. We act different now. The difference is I am more wise. I am older. I am more mature and more confident to say, hey, and this is not even me talking out loud to anybody. This is me talking to myself saying, hey, I'm going to speak up. An opportunity was there. I asked. And all he could have said was, no, we don't have time to add. I said, that would have been cool. That would have been fine. But he, from the start, said that your career development was important to me. That was him in his mind saying, let me actually see what she's about. So I stood in front of everybody and did that course. Here's some clips on how it went and everything. That is going to be the foundation of your brand and how you're going to morph your brand or shape your brand. Okay? What are your passions? What are your strengths and areas of expertise? Time. How can you impact the other teams that we're working with? All right, inspiring and growth, helping other individuals develop skills and confidence. We were just talking about the recruiters. How can we help them develop as well? Because it's going to be a win-win. It's going to help us and it's going to help them and our clients. To say, hey, I'm looking to go here, or I'm looking to learn more about this role or something else that I'm looking for, or this industry, because of these reasons. This is how you identify a target audience, not just any audience. Everybody loved it. I received kudos and compliments from that small speech, that 30-minute speech that I had, and not speech, to say facilitation that I did for about 2 weeks after, to say, Rokia, that was nice. And one of my peers is I'm actually working with them now to improve their LinkedIn, giving them tips and things like that. So thank you, boss, again, for allowing me to do that. And and also the same day I did the facilitation, I actually was up in front of everybody twice. That was the second half of the meeting. In the first half of the meeting, I did like a little icebreaker type game that I thought about. Basically, the role was, or the subject was about standardization and how we can standardize our role and responsibilities to make sure we're all one team and bring value to our team. And the boss, he was just like, yeah, I can't think of anything to do around this segment. And when he was explaining what he wanted, I was like, hey, I think I can come up with an idea of what we can do if you mind just letting me think for a second or think for a little while. Let me get back to you within 24 hours. Technically, I got back within an hour. I said, hey, boss, I thought about this. Why don't we turn it into an icebreaker game? I think it'll be fun instead of just because the whole meeting we're going to be talking for the most part and facilitating. Do you mind if I actually host a game about standardization? He was like, that is so awesome. Like, I never would have thought of that idea. By all means, go ahead and do it. If you need to buy anything, I'll reimburse you. I was like, no, I think the game that I want, I can get a couple things from Dollar Tree. We're good. The game that I thought about was a puzzle game to where they had to put together the puzzle, but the puzzle pieces were upside down, and they did not have a key or a picture to go by. They had to think about it. The whole point was they had to communicate with each other to figure out how we could put the puzzle together without any help.
Oh, there we go.
Done. Yay! Minnie Mouse! Minnie Mouse won!
30. You have 37 seconds left.
Okay, we're
And
looking.
you ready?
We're done. We got it done.
Y'all done too?
Kevin was a deal
You have
breaker.
26 seconds.
They loved it. They were just like, this was the best idea ever. My boss's boss was just like, how engaging was this? You started out this meeting well, Rokia. You set the presence. I was happy because honestly, I ain't never done nothing like this before, and I kind of thought about it on top of my head, and it came out well. If I was quiet, if I didn't have the confidence like Rosa Parks, if I just did not voice what I wanted, and those couple of weeks that I had been there, I would have just, yes, I would have thrived because I'm going to thrive at anything that I do. But it's different now. It's like I have this total attitude to where I have to make sure my presence is known in a humble and genuine manner, because I have goals. When Reagan graduates high school, I have goals, and I only have a few years left. So with that being said, I have to make sure that I start now. Number 3, tips on what to do within your first 30 days. Research the culture. That comes in a different set of ways. You can talk to people about the culture of your company. What I suggest and what I've mostly been doing is going on the intranet site. So every company has their own intranet site as far as I know, and they usually have, or they at least have a website, right? And you can go on that intranet site or that website and learn more about the company. If you work for a big company like I do, we're going to have an internet site, and an internet site usually has archived information that you can go on to listen to past workshops, to listen to past get to know me's or Q&As that the executives ran. All that information to where the company that I stepped into is totally new to me. It's a totally new industry. So not only do I need to learn about the company, I kind of need to know about the industry itself. So with that being said, I went on the internet and did my research. I'm just like listening to mostly like Q&As. So I love the fact that my company records everything. So if you can't make it live, you can just go back and watch the replays. And that's how I learn about who are the CEOs or who are these CFOs and who are these executives that are running this company, so that I can understand the culture and the environment they're trying to give. One, we are in a different climate altogether. We have a new president of the United States that has already made some decisions to where that affects a lot of businesses in different ways. So, I want to listen. I want to hear what the executives have to say about some of these changes, these financial changes around D&I, because as I just talked about, I am a D&I advocate. So I want to know and understand the culture that I'm working in. So I did a whole bunch of research on the internet on my downtime, and even sometimes because I'm allowed to bring my laptop home, during my laptop, I'm just like, hey, let me just go to the internet if I don't have time during the day to kind of read what's happening within this company for like the past 5 years. I have learned that the company is high in community events. They value D&I in a lot of ways, and I've just learned a lot of things from this industry that I would have never known because I just never worked in it. So my advice to you, hopefully you have an intranet site that you can go to, and it's never too late, right? Even if you're watching this video and it's over 30 days, if you're 3-4 years in, maybe even 20 years in, it's never too late. If you are thinking about changing your role, your set of responsibilities, you're thinking of some type of professional change, you can still follow these 3 tips as well. And then if you want to do it out of order, you can go ahead and start with researching the culture or researching the company just to see what else is out there. Also, when I say research the culture in the company, I'm also talking about jobs too. All right. So as you are looking at what the company does as for extracurricular, don't forget about yourself. Yes, I have already gone to the internet job site posting and checked to see what other jobs are out there. I don't know I'm new to this industry altogether, so I need to research and start now where I want to go and what I want to do. So I'll go to the job posting site, the internal one, and just look at some job titles, and I'm like, okay, so I got to get a certification for that. So if I want to get a certification for that, I need to go ahead and put that on my budget. I gotta look to see what time I have to get that certification, or if it's nothing of that nature, it's like, well, if I got to get it could be the opposite, right? Well, if I got to get a certification, I'm not going to that job because I've got too much schooling behind me already, and I'm not doing any more schooling. So let me find somewhere else to go. So all of that you can take into perspective to say you're starting now within 30 days or 20 years in, whichever one you're looking at when you're watching this video, to say, okay, I'm going to look and see what's out there, and let me see how to get there. First you look for your what, and then you look for your how. And then you can also go to your who. Who else can help me get there? Because I've figured out where I want to go at this point. So all that comes into tip number 3, research the culture, research the company, so that you understand where you want to go and how you want to get there. Well, that ends it today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, I hope that you do. This is a fun and adventurous channel. I keep it live. I keep it lit. Well, I don't know if I keep it lit too much because I'm not really a lit person. I am in certain ways, but I definitely keep it live. I keep it genuine. I keep it very transparent. I try to help. But I am a lifestyle adventure creator, and you'll get everything here from career help to your business help, because I am still a part-time entrepreneur, along with travel, which I do have some trips coming up for 2025. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and most of all, hit that like button, because YouTube loves it when they see engagement. I asked you earlier to comment between the difference between networking and building relationships, because there is a difference. But then also just comment, how did you like this video? What tips did you learn that you'll take back to your job? Or comment below and tell me how long you've been at your job. Has it been early 30 days, or have you been in 5-10 years at this point? Let me know. I'd love to give you some encouragement through the comments. Thank you so much. I will talk back to you soon, Royals.